Connie closed her eyes in an effort to stop the spinning. "How much?" she asked. "Let's see," he said. "That's $1,846.72, including the service charges. Under most circumstances, I'd be happy to waive the service charges, but since we no longer have any of your other business—" He let the rest of the sentence hang in the air. Meanwhile, Connie, grappling with finding a way to fix the problem, wrote down the amount he had mentioned. "What about my credit card?" she asked. "Can we transfer the money from my Visa?" Ken Wilson cleared his throat. There's a problem there, too, Connie," he said apologetically. "Your Visa account is over the limit right now, and the payment was due yesterday. That's another $1,760.43. That would just bring the balance down to where you wouldn't be over your limit." As Ken Wilson spoke, Connie was remembering how Ron had encouraged her to sign application forms for several other credit cards, ones that evidently weren't with First Bank. "Even if we never touched them," Ron had told her, "we're better off having them available." And indeed, if any of those applications had been approved, the resulting credit cards had never made it into her hands or purse. And if her Visa at First Bank was maxed out, what about balances on the other cards, ones Connie had no record of and no way to check? "I won't think about that right now," Connie told herself firmly as she wrote down the second figure. After adding that one together with the first, she arrived at a total of $3,607.15. Swallowing hard, Connie drew a circle around it. "I should be at your office with the money within 45 minutes. She heard Ken Wilson sigh of relief. "Good," he said. "I'll be looking forward to seeing you." Connie hung up the phone. She went to the room which had once been her mother's study. With trembling hands, she opened the bottom drawer of the dainty rosewood desk and pulled out her mother's frayed, leather-bound Bible. One by one, she began to remove the old-fashioned but still crisp $100 bills that had been concealed between many of the thin pages. After her mother's death, Connie had told no one of her mother's private stash, not her father, not her sister Maggie McPherson, and not even her new husband. When Connie had counted out enough money to cover her debt, she started to put the Bible back in the drawer. Then, thinking better of it, she took it with her. In the kitchen, she stuffed the Bible into her capacious purse. Carefully, Connie counted out $3,700 bills. As she pushed them across the smooth surface of Ken's desk, the banker cleared his throat. "I took the liberty of looking at your account again," he said. "There's another $400 worth of life insurance premiums that will be deducted within the next 2 days. Do you want to deposit enough to cover those as well?" Grateful she had brought along the Bible, Connie extracted 4 more bills and shoved them over to Ken Wilson. "Good," he said. "Very good." He stood up. "If you'll just wait a moment, I'll be right back with your change and a receipt." Connie nodded and then sat staring out the window at traffic rushing by until he returned. He handed her the receipt and carefully counted out the change. "If you'll forgive my saying so," he said hesitantly, "it sounded as though you had no idea these monies were being transferred from First Bank. I trust there isn't any kind of problem." "Oh, no," Connie interrupted, answering too quickly and too brightly. She didn't want to admit to being that irresponsibly stupid. "If Ron decided to move the funds, I'm sure he must have had a good reason," she continued. "As soon as I talk to him, we'll have the whole thing ironed out." "Good, then," Ken Wilson said. Connie grabbed her purse and fled Ken Wilson's office. She dashed through the marble-floored bank lobby and sank gratefully into the overheated leather of her mother's oversized Lincoln Town car. Joint accounts, she chided herself. She had done that on purpose, too. In a fit of defiance, Connie had put Ron on as signatory to all her accounts, just to spite people like her sister Maggie, who had told her Ron was only after her money. Other women might have railed and cried and blamed their betrayers. Driving back home, her eyes dry and gritty with unshed tears, Constance Marie Richardson Haskell blamed only herself. Once in the house, Connie saw the blinking light on the answering machine as soon as she put her car keys and purse down on the kitchen counter. Hurrying to the machine, she punched the play button. First came Ken Wilson's message, which she had already heard but had failed to erase. She fast-forwarded through that one. Then after a click, she heard Ron's voice and her heart leaped in her throat. "Connie," he said, "it's Ron. I don't know if you're there or not. If you are, please pick up." There was a pause, and he continued, "I guess you're not. I don't know where to start, Connie, honey. I'm so sorry about everything. I'm at a place called Pathway to Paradise. I thought these people could help me, and they are helping me, that is. It's going to take time. I want to talk to you about it, Connie. I want to explain. Maybe you'll be able to forgive me, or maybe not. I don't know. I can't leave here because I've made a commitment to stay for the full 2 months, but it would mean so much to me if you would come here to see me. That way I could be the one to tell you what happened instead of your having to hear it from somebody else. Please come, Connie. Please. Preferably this evening. Pathway to Paradise is at the far end of the Chiricahua Mountains, just outside Portal on the road to Paradise. It's north of town on the right side of the road. You'll see the sign. Wait for me along the road sometime between 9 and 10, and..." At that point, an operator's voice cut in on Ron's voice. "If you wish to speak longer, you'll have to deposit an additional $1.65. "Please," Ron added. And then the answering machine clicked off. Connie Richardson Haskell was a woman who had always prided herself in keeping her emotions under control. Now anger roared through her system with a ferocity that left her shaken. "I'll be happy to join you in paradise, you son of a bitch," she muttered grimly. "But I'm going to bring along a little surprise." With that, she turned and walked into the bedroom. There, behind one of her mother's vivid watercolors, was her father's hidden wall safe. Inside was a well-oiled .357 Magnum, fully loaded. Then, without a backward glance and without bothering to lock up the house, turn on the alarm, or even make sure the door was firmly closed, Connie went back out to her car. Her father had always insisted on keeping a Rand McNally Road Atlas in the pocket behind the seat. Connie pulled out the atlas and studied the map of Arizona until she located the tiny dots that indicated Portal and Paradise. After charting a route, she put the atlas back in its spot and climbed into the driver's seat. Slamming the big car into reverse, she tore out of the garage and headed for Pathway to Paradise to find her husband. Connie didn't bother to look back, and she didn't notice that the garage door had failed to close. There was no reason to look back. It was almost as though she knew she was finished with the house and the neighborhood, and they were finished with her. No matter what happened, Connie Richardson Haskell wouldn't be returning ever. At 1 o'clock Friday morning, Sheriff Joanna Brady let herself back into the 2-room suite at the Marriott Hotel in Page, Arizona. Butch Dixon, her husband of a month and a little bit, lay sound asleep on the bed with his laptop computer sitting open in front of him. The laptop was evidently sleeping every bit as soundly as Butch. Joanna took off her jacket and sniffed it. Wrinkling her nose in distaste, she tossed it over the back of the desk chair. It reeked so of cigar and cigarette smoke that she'd need to dry clean the suit before she could wear it again. But after an evening spent playing cutthroat poker with fellow members of the Arizona Sheriff's Association, what else could she expect? Reaching into her bra, she plucked a wad of bills along with some change from one of the cups. After counting the money, she found the total amounted to a little over $200. Those were her winnings culled from all but one of her poker-playing opponents and fellow Arizona sheriffs. Leaving that money on the dresser, she removed a much larger wad from the other cup of her bra. That was the money she had won from one poker player in particular, Pima County Sheriff William Forsythe. That sum came to just under $500, $488.50 to be exact. It had done Joanna's heart good to clean the man's clock. For the first 2 years of her administration, Joanna had kept a low profile in the Arizona Sheriff's Association. She had come to the annual meetings, but had stayed away from the camaraderie of the association's traditional poker party. This year, though, fresh from yet another slight at the hands of the obnoxious Sheriff Forsythe and his department, she had gone to the meeting intent on duking it out with a man over beer, cards, and poker chips. Joanna Lathrop Brady had learned to play poker at her father's knee. Cochise County Sheriff D.H. Big Hank Lathrop had been a skilled player. lacking a son with whom to share his poker.